चलिए, good morning, dear students. Today I will discuss about the components of a hydropower plant, that is the dam, its types, water reservoir. This is the part of Unit 4. The subject name is the Power Plant Engineering and the semester is 7th. This is the outline, introduction, storage and pondage, selection of site for the hydropower plant, basic components, dam and its types, water reservoir. This is the introduction. जहाँ पे कि आप देख रहे हैं कि water plus gravity, that is means the energy evidently available potential for the better use. The energy of water utilized for the generation of power using the kinetic energy and the potential energy of water by motion and the position. This is the hydro energy. Hydropower or the hydroelectric power plant, which is the basically electrical energy that has been generated using the natural source such as the flowing water. It is usually produced by the dams because of the dam can store and the direct large volumes of the water. Hydroelectric power, that is the most popular green energy source because it does not use any of the polluting fuels such as the oil, coal or the natural gases. This means that unlike other power plant, hydroelectric power plant do not produce the carbon dioxide. This is the water power energies. It is considered as one of the most economic and the non-polluting source of the energy. Power generated from the water is termed as the hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity means the electricity generated by the hydropower or from the use of the gravitational force or falling or the flowing water. This is the potential and the kinetic energy. This is the potential energy which are the generated above the dam where the dam is constructed. This is the potential energy generated, and this potential energy which can be created by the some means, it will be converted into the kinetic energy, and kinetic energy also will return back to the potential energy form. So potential energy, which is store energy, is in the object or the system because of the its position or the configuration. And the kinetic energy of an object, it is relative to the other moving and the stationary object in its immediate environment. Storage and pondage, where the water is collected. The collection of the water in a reservoir upstream of the power plant and the increasing the capacity of the stream for a long period of a time, called that is the storage. Picture view, which is showing the clear representation of the storage and the pondage. Storage plant work as the base load stations, and the base load plants are the high capacity and that takes the load on the base portion of the load curve. Peak load plants are the designed for the taking care of the peak load. This is the pondage. For a short period of time, the pondage increases the stream capacity behind a dam near the plant. Pond permit to store water during the off-peak hours, and this could be used during the peak hours of the same day. If there is a considerable distance between the plant and the reservoir, pond is needed at the plant to regulate the flow. Selection of site for a hydroelectric power plant. This is the following factors should be given careful consideration while selecting a site for a hydroelectric power plant. That is the water level. So this is the estimate of the average quantity of the water level should be prepared on the basis of the actual measurements of the stream or the river flow. The river flow data should be based on the daily, weekly, monthly, and the yearly flow for either a number of years. The plant capacity and the estimated output as well as the need for storage will be governed by the average flow. The primary or the dependent well power which is available at all times when the energy is needed will depend upon the minimum flow. The maximum of the flood flow governs the size of the headworks and dam to be built with the adequate spillways. Water storage, the output of a hydropower plant which is not uniform due to the wide variations of the rainfall to have a uniform power output. A water storage which is needed so that the excess flow at a certain times. It is maybe stored to make it available at the times of the low flow. To select the site of the dam, careful study should be made of the geology and the topography of the catchment area to see if the natural foundation could be found and put to the best use. Third is the head of the water. This is the level of water in the reservoir for a proposed plant should always be within limit throughout the year. Fourth is the distance from the load center. How much of the distance would be required from the load center? It will be specified. Most of the time, the electric power generated in a hydroelectric power plant has to be used some considerable distance from the site of the plant. To be economical or transmission of the electric power, the routes and the distance should be carefully considered, since the cost of the erection or the transmission line and the maintenance will depend upon the route selected. This is the access to the site. It is always a desirable factor to have a good access to the site of the plant. This factor, which is very important if the electric power is generated to be utilized at or the near the plant site. The transport facilities must also be given due to the consideration type of the land of the site. The land to be selected should be the cheap and the rocky. The land should have the largest catchment area to store water at a high head and will be economical in the constructions. The rock should be strong to withstand the stresses transmitted from the dam structure as well as the thrust of the water when the reservoir is full. The rock should be remain stable in the all conditions. Hydroelectric power plant use the potential energy of water stored in a reservoir to operate turbines. The turbines are connected to large generator and can operate on the varying volume of the water to adapt to change demand of the electricity. Hydroelectric power plant capacity is related to the height and capacity of a reservoir and require the certain condition in the local geography in addition to a water resources. Hydro is a renewable energy source and the more cost effective than many other renewable sources of the energy such as the photovoltaic. Hydropower currently provide the 25% of the world electricity and is very flexible in the scale. Commercial installation range from the 1 megawatt to the largest installation to date of 18,400 megawatt. Basic component, the main components are the dam, water reservoir, spillways, surge tank, intake or the control gate, the penstock, water turbines, draft tubes. These are the main component, and finally generators. So this is the dam construction before the construction of the dam and after the construction of the dam. This is the picture. So before the construction of the dam, site should be selected proper, and after the construction of the dam, it should be collected of the water at a higher level, and the lower level water turbine it will be constructed for the conversion of one form of energy to the another form. This is the dam. It is the most important component of the hydroelectric power plant. It should be built at a location where the height of the river is sufficient to get the maximum potential energy from the water. What are the classification of the dam? That is the masonry dam. It is the very strong dam. Fill dams. So masonry dam, there are also three types: gravity dams, buttress dam, arc dams, and the fill dam. There are the two types: earth fill dam, rock fill dam. Classification of dam, that is the concrete or the stone masonry barrier to raise water for the storage and also the hydraulic head. The dam must fulfill the fundamental functions, that is it develops a reservoir which has a capacity to store water. It builds up a head and thus the potential for the river water head. Different types of the dam, that is the masonry dams, fill dams and the timer dams. Masonry dams are the classified into the three categories, that is the gravity dams, buttress dam, arc dams, and the fill dams are the categories or the classified into the two categories, earth dams and the rock fill dams. Masonry dam, solid gravity dam, this is the constructed using the masonry concrete. It is the bulky and the massive than the other types. Sound rock foundation which is required. The height of the dam is limited by the strength of the base. The design is simple, but it is the consume heavy material. This type of the dams are the more economical at a small power values. These dams provides us safe and the economical spillways facilities. Arc dam are the curve in a plane. Structure is the curve stream. This type of the dam are the more economical and the stronger than the gravity dam. This type of the dam are the only suitable for the narrow valleys with the steep slopes of the solid rocks to support the outward thrust of the structure. The water thrust is the compression. This is the types of the dam. तो multiple arc type section यहाँ पे दिखाए गए हैं. This is the buttress dam where the dam structure are the curved manner. They are also known as the hollow gravity dam, inclined upstream face, so that the pressure of the water large downward force which provide the stability of the sliding and the overturning. The force is transmitted to a row of buttress and they are also shaped the engaged are the queues. and the countries like the Japan and the Italy are going for this dam. It requires the 1/3 of the material required for the solid gravity dam. These dams are the generally triangular in shape. ये इनका जो shape है वो triangle form में रहता है, इसलिए बटरेस डैम के नाम से जाने जाते हैं. ये जो दिखाया गया पिक्चर आपको बटरेस डैम कहलाते हैं. Fill dam, earth fill dam, it is generally used for the small capacity power plant. Advantage cheaper than the masonry dams, can be built at any location, suitable for the relatively previous foundation, get the stronger with the age, can be erected quickly. इसको बहुत आसानी के तरीके से दिखा सकता है और सस्ता होता है masonry dam की comparison में, कहीं पे इसको लगाया सकता है. Disadvantage, require the more maintenance, supplementary spillways, it is required, fail suddenly without of the any warning, it is subjected to erosion and the flood damage and the limited in the height. Rock fill dam, these dams are the eventually constructed in the mountainous regions where the rock is rather than earth is available. Rock fill dam consists of the loose rock fill and the upstream dry the rubble cousin of the laid up stone bonding up to the dump of rock, and the upstream the impervious membrane on the dry rubble cousin. This is a water reservoir. It is a place behind a dam where the water is stored. The water in the reservoir which is located higher than the rest of the dam structure, and the height of the water in the reservoir decide how much potential energy the water can possess. So thank you. This is the today lecture. Tomorrow I will discuss about the another new topic of the hydroelectric power plant.